I'm Susan. I'm an artist and professor of visual arts, and I work in a college in New Jersey, and I am also assistant chair of my department, so I'm in charge of the visual arts students and what goes on in the department. And I'm a working artist with an art practice, and I live in New York City, and I have 2 kids. One's in college, one's in high school. He's not an artist, though he's a musician. And I have a husband who's an architect. Okay, so I've always wanted to be an artist ever since I was really young. I guess we had a project to do when I was in maybe 2nd grade. It was your autobiography. And in my drawn autobiography that I made, it said Susan Altman Art Exhibition. So in 2nd grade, I knew I wanted to be an artist. Maybe it was 1st grade. And so I have been a practicing artist since the 70s, since I went to college and graduate school, and have been teaching in New Jersey since 1987. Before that, I taught at the University of Alaska and Tyler School of Art in Philadelphia. The first class I taught was a printmaking class, since I'm primarily a printmaker, even though I do large abstract drawings now. And I've learned a lot since then. So I taught, it was a sort of mixed media class. You taught etching, you taught silkscreen, you taught lithography, all in the same class. And students could work in whatever. It was an upper level class, so students could work in whatever they wanted to do. I knew what I was doing, but I learned a lot. So now my practice is primarily drawing, large abstract drawings. They're untitled because it's important for me not to put preconceived connotations on them. So when someone looks at it, I don't want to put some arbitrary title that makes you think, oh, I have to find something in it. So they are all untitled, which sometimes gets a little confusing for shows. I don't really think I have a favorite.
Oh.
I do have work in a variety of collections. MoMA, I have an artist book that I did in MoMA, the Brooklyn Museum. I'm in a number of collections. Are those my favorites? I don't think so. I think you have to make a work and then move on and make the next work. So I'm on sabbatical this semester, and I had to come up with a project that's relevant to my own practice, but also relevant to what I'm teaching. Because my institution is very clear that the project you do during your sabbatical has to relate to what you teach. So I'm in the fine arts department, and the digital age passed me by. I went to school, you made things. You made objects, you handled objects, and I didn't do much on the computer, and I have this big fancy Mac on my desk with a 27 or 29-inch screen. It's fabulous, but I never use it, except for email. So I really decided I need to learn it. I need to learn it because I need to bring it to my students need to learn it. So I'm taking 3 courses this semester at Queen, and learning digital, and figuring out how to bring it to my fine arts students, but still give them what they need in a foundations class, that they still know how to handle objects and make objects and have those hand skills they need that are not just done on the computer. It's a new way of thinking for me. It's not how I think, so that's been a little challenging. So the language of computers, I'm not totally fluent in. So sometimes I sit there and I don't know what's going on. And it helps me realize sometimes my students don't know what's going on, so I have a great sense of empathy for them. But I'm slowly learning the language, but it takes a lot of practice. I spend a lot of time on my sabbatical. People think when you're on sabbatical you don't do anything. I'm working very hard. Plus I'm doing my own art practice, so I want to get in the studio and make work that is not related to Photoshop or Illustrator. Some of my best students have been older, with lots of reasons they had trouble, like to be in school. Like, I remember this woman, she was so brilliant. She wrote beautiful papers. She was just, because I teach art history also periodically, and she was just brilliant, but her husband didn't want her to go to school. She had 2 kids at home. He didn't want her to be smarter than him because he didn't have a college degree, but she did it anyway. So I don't think it's age. I think it's what you want to do. If you want to become a graphic designer, then you have to work to become a graphic designer. And then what's really going to get you that job is your portfolio. If the work is not there, you're not going to get the job. If the work is strong, no one's looking at your age. I think. You know, if you walk in with a really strong portfolio and they like your work, you'll get the job. So you shouldn't, you know, age is relative. I mean, some of my students, I had another brilliant student, he was in his 30s. He was a brilliant artist, got into Tyler. He left where I am and transferred to Tyler. And, you know, he always say, oh, I'm the black sheep of the family. Everyone in my family has a PhD already. But it just took him longer. You know, sometimes it takes you longer. That's okay. I think the goal's the same. Doesn't matter how you get there. If that's my little bit of philosophy for this video.